Funding for the interview show is provided by Lifeway Foods, makers of Lifeway Kefir and other probiotic products, like their Kefir cups, farmer cheese, and supplements. Lifeway, love your guts. Learn more at lifewayfoods.com.
Ethan Hawke's a writer, director, and of course, actor. He starred in the movie First Reformed this year and also directed the film Blaze about the outlaw country musician Blaze Foley. Here's my interview with Ethan Hawke. There's a lot of very well-known names in outlaw country. Mm-hmm. Waylon Jennings, obviously Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, who's in the movie Blaze. Yeah. Blaze Foley.
Haggard, yeah, all those guys.
Blaze Foley is not one of them.
No.
And yet, he lived a life similar to theirs. He lived a very hard life, had a lot of demons. He didn't make it past his demons like some of the others did. Mm-hmm. He also wrote some just achingly beautiful songs, which honestly I didn't know until I saw the movie, so thank you for making the movie.
My pleasure.
What did you know about him, and what about his story said, I gotta make this movie?
Well, part of what about his story that drew me was how much every music biopic you ever have seen in your life is about a musician who made it big. And the great force of people that I've met, I've spent my life around artists and musicians, and most of them don't make it big, you know? And so there's some kind of subtext to this biopic thing that the only lives worth talking about are the ones that somehow, you know, made it. And I just had this idea, I wanted to make a movie about a guy who didn't make it. A guy who was a first-rate poet and who lived the same authentic life of the Willie Nelsons and the Merle Haggards of the universe, but through that he was kind of allergic to success. He was also had a lot of self-sabotage, and, you know, where those two storms meet. I recognized a lot in what I read about Blaze and friends of mine, and I wanted to write about that.
There's a moment in the film in which Blaze is coming back to see his father, and his father was not somebody that he was fond of, and his father had also lost his mind. He could only say, "Do you have a cigarette?"
Yeah.
But Blaze and his sister perform music for his dad, and the dad, who's played by Chris Christopherson, says, "Beautiful." Yeah. Beautiful. And it's this, what is it about music in particular? Not that the other arts aren't, not that you can put a hierarchy to art.
You can. Well, Mark Twain has a great line that all art aspires to be music. Even a good painting, you know, they talk about the gestures having, you know, rhythm or tempo, or, you know, that because it's nonverbal, I mean, it can have words, but it doesn't need words. It kind of goes inside you.
Yeah.
Nothing creates mood like music. Nothing opens our hearts like music. One of the things that I love about country music is here we have this country, the news is all about how divided we are, and we have a president that loves to divide us even more and make things worse. And I always think about Willie Nelson and how everybody in this country loves Willie Nelson. We all can't be that different if we all love Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. You know, we obviously are brothers and sisters on some level. And country music gets at that. It's just, does it turn off that part of your brain for a second? Go, can we all just be like real for a second? I don't know why I was born. I don't know why my mother has to die. Do you? You know, and that's, in country music can get at some truth.
So talk about that, if you will. I'm not asking you to share your views of the latest in the news, but we live in this super frenetic age. And there's a part of me, and I'm sure there's a part of you, and there's a part of everybody who thinks, I need to stay on top of what's going on.
God, I know.
For some,
I know.
And almost out of like a real civic responsibility. Like, and I should know what the president just tweeted, no matter how crazy.
Well, I find it so hard. I think one of the things that I'm disappointed most about is, you know, I'm in this movie right now that's out called First Reformed.
That's right.
And, you know, it deals with a priest having trouble with the environmental crisis. And I think about, you know, the environment and our kids and protecting our world, and how when I was a kid, you know, the Republican Party was all the hunters and fishermen, and without them, we wouldn't have any conservation.
Right.
I mean, this country, one of the things is all this gun control talk. We owe everything about conservation to the hunters and fishermen of this country. And I don't understand where the leadership is now to not continue to protect the environment. Why we let our conversation be made to be so small. We get, instead of talking about Scott Pruitt and what's happening with healthcare, making sure we don't talk about what's happening in South Dakota, with Standing Rock. We're going to talk about bleeding facelifts. So you feel some civic obligation to try to bend the conversation back to something substantive,
But maybe the answer is, and not to be glib about it, is to put on a Willie Nelson record. And
I don't think that's glib at all. I think one of the things that, Ben Dickey and who plays Blaze Foley, they were both from Arkansas. And I think the South is I'm from Austin, Texas, and the South is wildly misunderstood about its identity, particularly in the North. And there's a long line of beautiful Southern artists who have a lot to say about bringing people together. Willie Nelson being one of the most obvious. Chris Christopherson, I remember when I was growing up, Chris was such a leader, he's always willing to speak his mind about any subject at any time. So we need some of those kind of old school. He didn't ever have a knee-jerk thing too, that's part of one of the things that's our culture's feed on, for us or against us kind of thinking, which obviously divides people. Everybody's, it's you're right or you're wrong, you're right or you're left, or it's fight or flight. And the thing about fight or flight is it ignores the possibility of actually standing with someone and not fighting. It's not, there's a third space, where we actually can be together. And this third space is, I think, where art lives, where music lives, this third space that can be healing, where it's not left, it's not right, it's not fight, it's not flight. It's not one thing. It's some meeting place where both these things, and that's where healing can exist. And that's what I think part of the job of the artistic community is a healing.
So for me, one of the kind of eternal, not to sound too highfalutin, questions is,
we're in a bar. You have to talk about eternal questions.
Where's the whiskey? There's rightful talk now about how for too long there's been too few perspectives whose stories have been told. Mm-hmm. And so let's get as many perspectives as we can. But in the end, and maybe it's through art, are people more alike than different, or is that just a facile way of talking about it?
That's the thing, obsessing about. Yes, we need to share the mic. Okay, the mic has to be shared, and stories are valuable because they open up our eyes to see that our experiences are not as unique as we think, and that you might suffer very much the same way that I suffer. And that one of the beautiful things about being an actor that is fascinating, and it starts, you're a kid and you start doing Shakespeare plays and you start realizing, okay, these plays are almost 500 years old and they're all, they don't have cell phones. Yeah, they're carrying swords. Yeah, there's kings and queens. But the essential things, Romeo and Juliet, young lovers falling in love and their parents not understanding, friends not understanding, families who hate each other for no reason, King Henry IV, fathers and sons not getting along, people partying too much, people being jealous of their lover, people wanting more money, people being hurt. All the essential feelings are the same. And this is 500 years ago. Yeah. And you can still relate to it. It still touches your heart. Chekhov writes a play. It takes place 120 years ago, and it's pre the Russian Revolution, and it speaks to your heart. I believe in the power of art to actually transform. Most of us don't ever change what we think. Most of us are in our lane, and we stay in our lane. We keep our head down, and we think the same thoughts, and we listen to the same music, and but really, I do believe that an amazing song, an amazing movie, an amazing play, an amazing painting can actually, it's kind of operates like a collective consciousness, like the arts are, and part of a healthy society is like a healthy person is a healthy mind. They express their ideas freely. They're curious. They're open, right? This is a healthy person. They are the brittle break, right? And so the same with a society. And that's what art's job is to do, is just to be this healthy consciousness where ideas are explored, where voices are heard, where things aren't kept in shadow, right? Yeah. And I saw that work. I remember I was 18 years old. It was the summer Dead Poets Society came out. This is really funny. I just, as you're talking, I thought of it, but like, why do I believe that this is possible? And I remember sitting there in this restaurant, I was 18, talking to Robert Sean Leonard, and we had played roommates in the movie. And he played the character who kills himself, and I played the character at the end of Dead Poets Society. My character stands up on the desk for Robin Williams and says, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," And I'm sitting there in this little Italian restaurant in Greenwich Village, and all of a sudden, this whole group, they were having a wedding, and they somehow all decided to stand on their chairs.
Oh my God.
And then everybody in the restaurant stood on their chairs and were saying, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," to Robert and I. And it wasn't for us, it was for each other. They were saying they cared.
Yeah.
They wanted a chance to stand up.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, man, wow. Movie, there's a power here.
What did you do? How'd you?
I turned beet red and finished my spaghetti,
That's kind of beautiful, though.
Yeah, it was. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. Well, Blaze is it's great.
Well, thank you. We love making it.
Thank you for making it, and thank you for coming on the interview show. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Funding for the interview show is provided by Lifeway Foods, makers of Lifeway kefir and other probiotic products, like their kefir cups, farmer cheese, and supplements. Lifeway, love your guts. Visit lifewayfoods.com. Lagunitas, beer speaks, people mumble, except on the interview show. Visit the Lagunitas Tap Room at 2607 West 17th Street in Chicago. Field Notes, vintage styled, made in the USA pocket journals and stationery products. Visit fieldnotesbrand.com.